Hey, this is Max. Welcome back to another CSR2 video. This season's Prestige Cup car is the Ultima Evolution Coupe. And while I have rarely done this recently, I think a easy supply cup video is due because this is one of those basically one or two car available type situations. And a lot of newer guys probably never got an Evolution Coupe. I can tell you up front that it's not very good. But since you're going to be stuck doing the supply cup with this to try to get those necessary fusions to get this car where you can actually beat the Prestige Cup, being able to easily beat that supply cup is going to be important, particularly when you're at the beginning when you have lower upgrades. Now, one of the classic tricks to beat any supply cup is to actually run the car stock. So that's one of your options. But if you don't want to run it stock and you want even better leverage to make sure you win the supply cup, you can do what I do, which is the negative Evo Dino Buster tunes that this car is capable of to beat supply cup easily. So how does this work? Well, let's say you do some upgrades, and I do the most basic of upgrades just so I can get tuning done. Whether you have fusions or not, this should still work. But obviously, this car does have some fusions. But let's go ahead and take a look at the dyno, and I'll explain to you why we are able to blow through the supply cup very easily with this car. So, the dyno says that my car has 626 performance point and negative 999 Evo. Now, if I move this up a little bit, we go to negative 448. It's a nice little jump. And now the dyno says 10.16, 16 second versus what it said earlier, which is 12.9, 19. And that's exactly what we're looking for with these cars that you're stuck doing supply cup with to make supply cup easier. Because by the way supply cup works is by having a particular dyno saying this is what your car should run. That's how the computer gives you your opponents. So your opponents are going to see that your dyno in the quarter mile is a 12.9, and most supply cups are quarter mile runs, they're not half mile runs. But even if it's half mile, it would be 19. But the dyno is going to say, okay, 12.9 is what this guy can run, and if you can run faster than 12.9 easily in the quarter mile, you will have an easy supply cup. Because your opponents are going to run actually 13.1s. The fastest may run around 13.0, whereas you're going to run, well, that 10 point something we saw earlier. And that's why I do this. It's just simply to make my life easier so I can just kind of cruise through supply cup each time, get my fusions, and no stress about getting beat by the cars. Do you have to do this to beat supply cup? No. Of course not. You can beat it straight up, and if you just got the ship pattern right. Supply cup's not meant to be impossible. It's meant to only be somewhat challenging near the end. So a lot of times with partial upgrades where it gets really challenging, it's in like the last 3 races of the supply cup, but you can end up spending quite a few pips if you really don't have a very good setup on the car and you're struggling to hit dyno with the setup. That's where you're going to lose races at the supply cup. And quite honestly, I don't even want to run the supply cup if I didn't have to, and I certainly don't want to lose any races at it. And in the past, I've done this for other cars that can accomplish this, doing these easy supply cup videos. And I think once again, we're at the point where we're being thrown a tier 5 car that has very few fusions available for most players that are somewhat new, and quite honestly, it's one of those cars that I just don't want to struggle on supply cup with. So I'm giving you this setup. So once again, let's look at this again. Now, it doesn't have to be as lowly upgraded as I have. You could put it to a higher level of upgrades, like so, but you want to leave these guys off, okay? Because as you add more parts, it'll become harder for the computer grip to overcome the power. So we don't want engine turbo intake necessarily, and you may have to further adjust this down to get the drop. And here we have 9.7, and I'm looking for a large jump, not a little jump, but a huge jump. Now we can see it's right there. So 7.2, which, by the way, if you're that well upgraded, you're going to win Supply Cup anyway. That's the other way to beat Supply Cup. If you're really fast in the quarter mile, you'll beat the fastest opponent, which is the CUDA. And if you can beat that CUDA, you don't have to worry about Supply Cup either. So there are three ways. There's stock, there's the Dino Buster, and then there's the fully maxed. Either one of those three will get you through Supply Cup easily. But assuming you don't have this benefit and you want to still beat it, you can now do a second under. So here you go. We can even do this. Well, we can even do it this way. Half mile for this one. You see that it'll beat Dino both in the quarter and half. In case I misremembered and it's actually a half mile run. So that's I guess worth mentioning as well. Is don't launch perfect. If you launch perfect, you get 0 RPM drop. You actually will run what you dynoed, which isn't good, right? We want to run under the dynos. So I did a 0 RPM drop. I did 7.5 on a 8.2. I mean, even with the 0 RPM drop, I kind of crushed it. But generally speaking, you don't want the 0 RPM drop. You want to get a little bit late or early launch so you can avoid that RPM drop and therefore get a even better run out of it. So we can do it a little bit late this time. And off we go. Okay, so it's I guess it's worth mentioning that if you face a Ultima Evolution in live racing in the 12-second lobby like this, you might want to consider about racing it, because I just ran 11.9 on a 12.8. All right, anyway.